So basically, I'll be speaking on monocular elevation deficit. So these are some of the photographs. So basically, it is defined as inability to elevate paretic eye from any position of gaze, provided ductions are normal in all other positions of gaze, and it may be due to paresis of superior rectus and inferior oblique with ptosis, or it may be superior rectus palsy of long standing. Initially, the term was double elevator palsy, which was coined by Dunlop in 1942. It may be congenital or acquired. It may be paretic or restrictive. It may be supranuclear. But now, MED is more accurate term because paralysis of both muscles independently and supranuclear lesions, they can also lead to impaired unilateral gaze palsy. So now we use the term MED more oftenly. Causes, it could be congenital due to supranuclear defects. It may be due to paresis of the superior rectus. It may be due to inferior rectus restriction. Neonatal hypoxia. In acquired cases, CVS diseases, midbrain tumors, pineocytoma, ectopic neuromas, metastatic tumors, sarcoidosis, infections, and in our setting, cysticercosis is an important cause of acquired MED. This is ultrasound picture of a patient of a MED in which cysticercosis was a cause. It is classified into three types. Type 1, where inferior rectus restriction is a prominent feature. In type 2, the weakness of elevators is a prominent feature, and type 3 is a combined type. So clinically, there is limitation of elevation above midline, both in abduction and adduction. There is usually hypotropia of the involved eye. There is presence of ptosis and pseudotosis. Usually there is chin elevation. Most of the cases it is unilateral, though some cases may have bilateral MED. Marcus gun jaw winking phenomena is seen in approximately 25% of the patients. This is clinical photograph of one of the patients having MED. So basically, it is very important to ask history of onset, and if sequence of events is not clear, then presence of amblyopia suggests congenital etiology. We must look previous photographs, and in acquired cases, there will be history of neurological symptoms, past medical histories, general systemic symptoms. In type 1 MED, we will have positive FDT, normal FGT, normal scades, deeper lower lid folds, and Bell's phenomena will be negative. In type 2, negative FDT, reduced saccade velocities, reduced force generation, and intact Bell with absent scades above the midline. Absent scades above the midline suggest a supranuclear lesion. We have to differentiate acquired DEP from the congenital DEP that is required for the management. If there is acute acquired diplopia in upgaze, ptosis is not a very prominent feature of acquired DEP. Pupillary anomalies, convergence weakness, and neurological symptoms, if they are present, they point towards acquired MED. Various differential diagnoses are Brown syndrome, vertical Duane's, congenital fibrosis of inferior rectus, congenital absence of SR or IO, abnormal insertions of inferior rectus and superior rectus, and third nerve palsy. So basically, if we have to differentiate it from Brown's, because in Brown's, it will be worse on the adduction and the deviation improves on abduction, while in MED, there is both in the elevation is worse both in adduction and abduction. Then tight superior oblique and presence of patent strabismus points towards the Brown syndrome. Then in vertical domains, there will be globe retraction in down gaze. Congenital absence of superior rectus and inferior rectus is usually associated with craniofacial anomalies, and these abnormal insertions can be diagnosed on ASOCT or imaging, and it is very difficult to differentiate it from superior divisional third nerve palsy. Then acquired DEP could be due to thyroid orbitopathy, where there are typical clinical features of the thyroid orbitopathy, that is bilateral involvement, proptosis, and other signs. Myasthenia gravis is another entity which must be differentiated. Then variable ptosis, presence of variable ptosis and other features, they differentiate it from the MED. Orbital floor fractures can be identified by history of trauma and imaging. Then orbital cellulitis and inflammatory diseases can be differentiated by presence of tender globes. This is one of the patient of ocular myasthenia gravis which presented like MED. Then what are the indications for surgery in MED? Significant abnormal head posture in primary position, significant vertical deviation in primary position, contracted binocular fields, presence of diplopia in primary gaze. These are some of the indications for surgery. In most of the patients, we have to do only observation, because with limited head changes, orthophoria can be maintained, and treatment for MED is surgical and only surgical. Goals of surgery are to achieve cosmetically acceptable deviation in primary position. We want to increase field of binocular single vision. It is very important to tell that surgery will not cure MED, and it is very important to tell the patient relatives that more than one surgery is required in this sort of patients, and basically ptosis surgery should be done after strabismus surgery, because most of these patients, they present to our oculoplasty colleagues and they come with the problem of ptosis and they want only ptosis surgery. So we have to tell them that ptosis surgery will be done only after the strabismus surgery. Various surgical procedures have been described, and optical surgical treatment for MED remains controversial, and the best thing is treatment should be according to the type of DEP, and type 1, which is more common type of MED, recession of the involved inferior rectus, is the procedure of choice. In type 2 MED, NEPS procedure is a well-established and commonly practiced procedure. However, NEPS procedure has certain drawbacks, because patient loses some abduction and reduction, and effectivity of the procedure decreases if the deviation is more than 25 prism diopters. These are some of the steps of the NEPS procedure, where we the medial rectus and lateral rectus, they are shifted towards the superior rectus. Then esophageectomy and vertical muscle recessions have been found to be effective in congenital DEP in one of the Chinese study. Then Sneer et al. Recommends NEPS procedure with posterior fixation sutures. And if this MED is associated with horizontal deviations, and in these sort of patients, most of the parents, they don't want surgery in the normal fellow eye. So modified NEPS procedure, in which there is splitting of the superior and inferior half of medial and lateral rectus, where upper part is used for correction of the vertical deviation and lower part is used for horizontal deviation, is procedure of choice. Then some authors, they do vertical muscle surgeries in the form of inferior rectus recession and resection of the superior rectus, and some do contralateral superior rectus recession. However, recession of the inferior rectus, then NEPS procedure, these are the two most commonly performed procedures for MED. This is preoperative photograph of one of the patient. This is post-operative photograph, the same. This is pre-operative photograph of another patient. This is post-operative photograph immediately after the surgery. You see orthophoria. Then this is a pre-operative photograph of a patient with right MED. Then in the upper photograph, this is after the squint surgery, and finally the patient is after bilateral sling surgery. So when to intervene for ptosis, minimally you should wait 6 months after squint surgery, because magnitude for vertical correction increases with time following NEPS procedure. Thank you very much.